This is a mid to late 19th century folding table, which is actually a very practical size. It's just over 6 foot in length at 74 inches and just under 30 inches in width at 28 and a half. But the great thing about it is that it folds down and sets up very easily. And when it sets up, it's really quite strong. The legs are made as pairs, and quite often with a folding table, you're worried that there's going to be a little bit of wobble to it. Because of the iron fittings to this one, although you've got a very small amount of wobble, there's not a great deal there. It's really very stable. So, you know, if the weather takes a turn for the good and you think, well, it would be lovely to dine outside today, you could get this table out very easily, move it into the garden, set it up and have a lovely dinner on it. So one of its strengths and one of the things that stops the wobble factor is it's got very good iron hooks and iron fittings to each corner, and they're really quite strong. Let's just pull this up and see if you can see that there. So you've got a great hook there which fits in, release that, and on the other side, and then these legs will fold as pairs. So I think probably the thing to do is to show you the table folded up. Now that it's dismantled and turned upside down, we can have another look at it, perhaps with a little bit more of a detail. So you can see these iron hooks here made to twist and the fittings, and of course one thing you've got to remember when you're folding it is that you've got to turn the hooks so that they're parallel vertically with the legs, because otherwise they're going to hit the ends and you won't be able to fold the legs. You'll wonder what's going on. We can have a good look at the legs, which are made of pine, as is the apron, stained pine, and we can just see there's some red stain there where they just missed and they hit the underside of a walnut. Lovely big iron hinges to the legs, extra bracing bars just to make that a little bit stronger as a joint when it's fixed, and the top fixed to the apron with these strengthening bits of angled iron, which look to be very original to it, and a bracing bar across the middle. And you can see that the top is made out of 2 pieces of walnut. You can quite clearly see the join there. So who would have made or used this table? Well, of course, there's unfortunately no broad arrow mark to it or stamp, so we can't say that it was definitely army use. It's of a size you could imagine it being used in an army barracks, but also it might be estate built, possibly for farm workers, for harvest, or just as an extra table when needed. And certainly it's still very practical for that these days. But the size is also good to use in a hallway or to use behind a sofa, because the width of it is not that great. It's relatively narrow, and so although you might be able to get 8 people sat around it if they're quite friendly, naturally of course there's going to be less space in the middle once the plates are down, just to put extra dishes and things. But then of course you could buy a folding side table to put all of that, and we know some dealers who sell those sort of things, so do get in touch. So to sum it up, it's a walnut topped table with stained pine legs and apron, mid to late 19th century, in date, quite a broad date range, but we can't be much more accurate than that, I'm afraid. A good humble table, but certainly a very practical one. It's on our website, take a look.